Hello there, this is Lonnie with Broken Shell Stamping. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm in the Huntington Beach area of California. So today I'm continuing on with a little bit more of a detailed description method of making these little albums out of a 6x9 piece of, I'm a scrapbooker, which I like to use all my scraps. So it makes this little book I showcased in a different video where you've got different elements for a little book. So I'm going to start walking you through how to put those together and get it adhered, get your pockets. So I like to make this a pocket as well. This is your standard 6x9 manila envelope. Now it's just an envelope that they had sent something home with. As you can see, it's empty in there. So you're gonna need 2 of these for the little book that I did, like this one here. This only has 2 envelopes, so if you could see, that's the 1 envelope, that's 2. And I turned one of the flaps into a pocket that holds whatever you want to put into it. And then the other one is just glued down. I believe might be on this side. As you can see, it gets hidden. What you want to also do is make sure you have something for a binder, or like a, you have to excuse me, I've been sick. To give it like a book where it's a little bit more solid. So for that, I just use any other kind of scrap. This happens to be a FedEx envelope. So it doesn't even have to be measured, but you're gonna wanna cut the envelope. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it to just get a little bit of a size. You could even rip it. Sometimes ripping it is a little quicker. But all you need is some kind of cardboard to give your book a little bit of stability, whatever you want to call it. So I'm just going to quickly cut this out here off camera. It's too big to do on camera. So you don't need very much. And it does not have to be perfectly cut. You can trim it down to be exact if you want on a paper trimmer. But it really, it's very flimsy, but it's just enough to give you a stability for your book. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this. So it only needs to be down here a little bit. Now I don't want the plastic inside, so no one's going to see the inside of this. So you can just go ahead and pull it off. Any kind of, I mean, even a cereal box or a box of crackers, whatever you have on hand that's a little bit more cardboardy. The designer series paper comes with the cardboard to keep it from getting bent. Those also work very well, and they're already pretty cut to size. But this is just to show you can use anything in here. So you want it to be a little smaller so you can set it up against your envelope. You want to be a little bit smaller so you can fit it in. So I'm just going to trim this down a little bit more. This has got that little lip piece, so I'm just going to... I get shipments from UPS and FedEx all the time at work, so it makes a great thing rather than throw it in the trash. I just bring it home if I've got a project that I'm working on. So before you cut those to size, we're gonna make the size of our album. And I kind of explained it in the other video, but all you're gonna do, you can line it up to your grid paper so you can see exactly where it needs to go. But your spine, if you see on the example here, is only like 1/4 of an inch wide. Like, it's not very big at all. So you don't need a lot of space. Now, if you want to make a bigger album, then you can easily do that as well. and you just cut it all down to size as you're going along. But for this little 6x9 album, we are going to use it for, yeah, 9, and then the 6 is on that side, yeah. So, sorry, Wolverine. You can see my broken shells. I am going to showcase another video on how I came up with the broken shell stamping, because to me, broken shells can also be beautiful, and that's where I go with that, because I still collect. I piece them together and you can make lots of different artwork, and they all have their own unique character. I mean, like this one is so, it's just beautiful. So that's my name. So you're gonna go ahead and just line this up. This part doesn't matter at the moment, and you're gonna give it, you can eyeball it. So if you could see right there, it's about 1/4 of an inch lined up right there with the squares on your grid paper. So you can use your nails. It doesn't have to be super, or you can use your bone folder to give it a good creased edge. So then you're going to do the same thing on the other side to give you your spine. So again, kind of line it up to the grid paper. And you're going to go down about 1/4 of an inch, which is 1 square. Let's see here. And then you just go ahead and flatten it out. And now, as you can see, you have your little spine. Not very wide. You're going to do this twice. Your 1 and your 2. If it overlaps a little bit, that's okay. It doesn't matter. It's going to have elements that will give it a different shape. And then you've got both of your spines in there to fit together. Now, you can adhere these just with glue, which is probably going to be in my example here. However, if you still have eyelets, you can put eyelets in here as well to give it a little bit more stability. And then you can also add elements like ribbons. You can put different things inside that to give it a pretty little outer edge. But it doesn't have to be done, and it's a little bit more clean when you don't have the ribbons on it. So back now to the outside of our, go ahead and use this one for now. The outside of our little book here. So you just kind of look where your line is at. In this example here, my second line is right here. So I just cut it down a little bit. You don't want it to go all the way to the edge because it'll get too snug. And then I take the other one and just cut off that edge. These are my paper scissors, not my ribbon scissors. If you set them side by side, you can see there's quite a distance in between here. If you had a bigger book, you probably could put a little piece of cardstock or cardboard in there to give your spine a little bit more stability, but it really is not necessary. Now we're going to give our binder or our outside edge its stability. And all you're going to do is open. It's better if you open it up and kind of give it a little help. So when you slide in the glue, it doesn't get all over the place. And I just use green glue because it's easier to maneuver, and just get as much as you can on the one side, and then try not to spill it, and it just needs something to hold it in place. And this is where it gets a little tricky, but the nice thing is, even if you get glue on there, you don't you're not going to see it, and it's going to help you with your other ones. You just slide it all the way to the edge and let go and push down. And it's just a little bit more solid than this side. Now on for number 2. So this one, we don't want to go quite as far. So you want to make sure your edge is creased enough that you can see it, or even take a pencil mark and mark in there. So if you want to do that so it's easier to see on this monitor, because then we can just erase it. This is my X-Men 2. See how old that pencil is? From Comic-Con. All right, so we don't want to go past that line with our glue. And this is the side, we're not going to use this as a pocket. This is going to be the outer edge, which is going to be adhered down once we have that inside. So that way it's all stable. And then the inner one is the one we're going to keep open as a pocket. So if you have 2 different types, just like these ones here, you can figure out which one you would prefer to have. This one, for example, for me, I would rather have this one as the pocket because it's a lot bigger. There's more space than this one. It's really, really short, so you don't have as much space for your pocket. So that's why it's going to be my outer edge. And now do the same type of thing. Let me just put some glue on it. I will always get glue on myself at some point. Slide it in, and I also just kind of look for the edge here to see that it's not over, and then we're good. We can erase this line unless you want to keep it in there. Now, another thing you can do before you start putting your paper on your book is we can ink it up. So I will show you that. This, of course, has a nice handy adhesive, but I'm also going to put some glue here. Now, if you have one of those with the little clasp right here, I actually take the clasp out and try to use it as an element somewhere else. Or I use it as like a door opening, so you can manipulate it to where you want it, but usually I just take it out. So as you can see now, we've got much more of a stable book for our little scrapbook. This one's much more flimsy. It's just enough to give you something a little bit stronger. So what I like to do is I like to age my paper before I complete the finishing. When I put all the paper on it, before I do any of that, I like to give it some of an edge. So I got my blending brush right here. This is the one over here. You can pick any color you want that you have in your ink pads. So for this one, because it was a beach theme, I believe this was Pool Party, or it might have been Lost Lagoon when I did this one, or Soft Succulent, but that's because I wanted it to match this. For this example, I'm going to use the current in color Copper Clay because I like how dark it is, to give it a little bit. So you just run your brush through a little, tap it off. I would flatten it out, not leave it folded at the moment, and then just start edging here. It may not be a lot, but it's just a subtle amount of a design that really makes your album pop. And then this is, you really can see it on the crease. So now when you're done, I fold it down so it's flat. But I want to see my edge. I want to see that spine edge. So if you see when you do that, you can definitely see where my edge is at. And then you do this on the next side. it around again and do some more. Copper clay has been kind of a difficult ink color for me. I love the color, but trying to work it in regular cards has been tricky, but I really like it as an aging element color. I used to really like the soft suede, but I think this one just has a more warmer tone to it. So you can, hopefully you can see it on the video. That shows that edging, because if you're on the inside, now you don't see that edging. And I do all of them, so I'm gonna go ahead and speed this up. Does anyone need a beach break? Because I could definitely use a beach break. So I will be right back with the speeding of the edging. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that, and we are back with the edging all done. Now, if you don't like that there's words on your recycled scrapbook page, you could make sure you cover it up with extra elements, but it's supposed to look like it's recycled. And one thing that's wonderful about these types of little albums is you can use your scraps. So that's what I'm going to be bringing out here soon. Now, the size of the paper, I'll write that down for you here. For the 6x9 envelope, that was my dog, if you heard him lay down. So the page of the designer series paper, or DSP, is going to, you could do it 5 3/4 by 4 1/8. But if you want a tighter fit, you would do 5 7/8. This is in inches by the 4 1/8. So, and your front, you kind of get to do whatever you want, because it's going to be your introduction to your album. So I went ahead and pre-cut. The peach pie actually looks really, really close to the manila colors. So this piece of cardstock is the 5 7/8 by 4 1/8. So see how it's just almost the 6 inches, because it's a 6-inch envelope. And then the same thing with the sides, it's just a little bit past the 4 there. So it's the 4 1/8, which is a good size for the cardstock for the inside of your album. Again, we're gonna adhere this. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So instead of using the eyelets, there's a couple things you can do. A lot of people prefer the tear and tape, or something like the green glue. I kind of like to use both. And when you're putting this together, this side really doesn't matter which flap is the one you glued over, as you can kind of see through the, you can see the barcode from the piece of FedEx envelope. But we're not going to see any of that when we cover it all up with cardstock or designer series paper. But it doesn't really matter which side you have the outside, your cover. The inside's where it's going to matter. So if you want your pocket on this side to open right here, then make sure you put it on that side. I prefer mine on the right side at the end. So if I have multiple pages, this pocket's always the last page to the end. So we're just going to use the tear and tape today to give it a little bit of more little ease of use. But the green glue also works really good. So I'm just going to use the tear and tape. I love this stuff. Item 154-030-31. And it fits in our little spine pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick that down right there in the middle. I need a tiny little piece there. So I'm gonna go ahead and I put it on the wrong paper. See? Everybody makes mistakes. I need to do this on the, see, good thing to know. Now you see, don't put it on your inside one. You want to put it on the outside edge of your binder. So let me get this, it is pretty sticky. But luckily it's rolling right off pretty good. Let's just clean that up. Look at that, fixed, and now it's got a little bit of texture and it's not even sticky, so we're good there. Okay, let's get the right one. So there's a good thing to remember. Don't do your inner page. You want to glue your binder, your cover. So I guess you can kind of decide which side you like better. I think I kind of like that one. That looks better. Okay, take 2 with the tear and tape. Let's just go ahead and measure it. We'll eyeball it here. And the wonderful thing about tear and tape is it just tears right off. There we go. Get my ink out of the way. So just really gonna kind of just line it up as you can see down here. It really helps with your grid paper to keep that stuff straight. I'm just gonna put it right in the middle. Ooh, let's grab my other pieces, shall we? And there is the album adhered together. And the nice thing with, if it was the green glue, it might squish out a little bit. This way it's not squishing out. So we've got our cover, our little album, our pocket, and the back. So here's that piece of cardstock. Now what I did is I ran it through the embossing folder. I got this one as my brand new one. It's from the mini catalog Forever Plaid. And it's, I don't know which page. I'll have to look at that later. I can reference it. But I did the embossing first, and then I used the deckled circles to cut out a little window. So I can have whatever I want. If I want to use one of those pictures, so let me get a picture out for, this is those little albums that or these little pictures that I use. It's with a Canon Ivy. It is the best little printer. You can get the printers that take pictures too, but this is what it looks like. And it's really easy to load. The paper goes right in there. It's battery powered. The paper does get kind of pricey, but it makes wonderful little prints, especially for these little mini albums. So we can put this behind here if we wanted to. It's kind of small. I would probably put a picture this way if you were going to use this particular album. Or we could also just use some stamps and put that in there, and it doesn't have to have a picture. It's whatever you want to do. That's the beauty of a scrapbook. It can be whatever you want. So if you take your, I'm just using the leftover on that. If you huff on it, you get a little bit more life out of your blending brush. This just gives it a little bit more definition. You could use dimensionals to adhere it. You can use the green glue. You could also leave this part a little bit open so this picture can just pop out as well. The sky is the limit. So that would be the front cover, and you're just going to glue it down. And this now can be an element anywhere else. My favorite thing to do in these albums is make pockets. So I like doing a pocket on the first page here. And this is again where all of your scraps come in handy. So I just grabbed a bunch of scraps from my scrap box to show you all the things you can do. I mean, a scrapbook is a scrapbook, and especially if you have, a lot of times I have extra Halloween paper or Christmas paper, and all these little pieces can be elements that you can use in your books. You can pick your color scheme and whatever you want to do. So I'm going to pick just one of the pieces here. I'm going to grab some smaller ones out and just kind of figure out which size works well. It could be plain, or it can be designer series paper. This one kind of looks pretty neat, and it's already about the size of my paper. So I'm going to go ahead and use one of those for this side. Now, the other side can be lots of different kinds. So I've got this over here, or the green. Here's the little puppy feet one. Oh, that's cute. I wish that they had this paper still. That one's a little short, but even if it's short, we can put the pocket down there and it wouldn't matter. This is the extra from that. This one's kind of busy for me, but that's pretty neat. I actually put my scratch paper in a kit box. I'll show you that. So this is one of the kits, and I just store all my scrap paper in it. So anything I need, this color would work pretty good. So here's an extra piece of Christmas. So let's see how that one, that's pretty decent. I like it better with that paper. So it's just a matter of putting your scraps together. Of course, you can get brand new designer series paper and just throw that in a themed album. So let's see what other ones we can have in here. Just try to find. Getting down to some really old paper. Look at that pink one. I think that's Rococo Rose. And it's got my shell. Okay, so let's just do one side for now. And so I can show you the pocket. So I'm just gonna go ahead and see, the red looks really pretty. Because we also do side pockets. I also will do a side pocket that I'll show you. So the red, that looks like it'll be good. So I'm gonna go ahead. I don't have my trimmer with me. I left it somewhere. when I was traveling. I think it might be out in my trailer. So I'm just going to cut with this old Fiskars one here. And as I said, it was about 5 7/8. So I'm just going to go here at the edge. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. And then that little piece, it's just a little short, but it won't work. It won't make it bad, because what we'll do is we'll add that side pocket here, and we won't even notice that that was too low. And now we've got coordinating pages. See? It's just a matter of going through your scraps. So let's go ahead, and I will use the green glue on these. Sometimes if you feel like it's not going to be strong enough, and if you like that, I like the flowers better. I will line it with tear and tape. See, this is another, I believe this is cinnamon cider. It's another old retired one. So you take the tear and tape and get it all the way to the edge, because that way it'll be less likely to pull up when you're moving. Because again, with these types of scrapbooks, you don't have sleeves to cover your photos and all your elements, so they get handled more and can break apart. So that's why I like to line it with a tear and tape on the edge, and then do the green glue in the middle. So here we have our edge. So this is good to do first here. So once we're done with this page with the pocket, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. It's getting a little long, and I want to be able to show you some more pages that you can make down the line. The take your pick tool really helps with that. So now I've got the middle, just kind of get as much as you can to keep it down. This designer series paper really is the best, so it doesn't seem to warp much with this ink. I mean, sorry, the glue. So I don't get a lot of my pages warping. Oh, just setting that down right there. Now, if you want to edge the paper before you adhere it, you can. You can also just kind of do some here if you wanted to. Just depends on how you want it to look. Now we're going to do this one here. You could also stamp this if we wanted to. So I've got this paper pumpkin kit just out. I just made some alternates. So if we want to add some elements to this, since we have it not designer series paper, you can just go ahead and ink it up. I like to keep a stamp set on hand that's just elements, very earthy. This color is Cajun Craze. And we're just gonna put we can even use it for this side here. Right there. So now we've got our designed piece of paper. Again, if you want to go ahead and edge it, you can do that now. I like to be able to see the edging around there. So I'm going to leave it like that. Get our tear and tape. I'll show you the take your pick tool. Works a little bit better here. Last piece. So if you take the take your pick tool with the poker edge, it's a lot easier to it would be crazy if there was an earthquake right now. The last time I was doing stuff, I was watching other people's videos, lives. I had an earthquake. We've had quite a few earthquakes recently. The last one was in Malibu, which is quite a distance from us here, or in this area, but whew, it shook and it felt so dizzying. It was weird. It was like a 4.8 earthquake. I think it was when they did 4.7. So I want to make sure we have that upright. And we're gonna put that here. Now remember, we were short on our page. So we're gonna add this little element down here. Again, we're short on this side, but that's not gonna be an issue because we're gonna put our pocket over here. One of our other pockets. I'm just gonna use the tear and tape on the very bottom of this piece. Lost my take your pick tool already. Oh, I put it away. All right, now we got this down here. All right, pocket time. So this goes a little bit past. We could trim that down. I think I'm gonna leave it a little bit higher. So it's just kind of gonna stay there, but I do want to leave a little bit of an edge here just so it doesn't catch on stuff. It's going to depend what you're gonna put in this side pocket. So I'm getting into my little scraps here just for a little piece of paper. That's kind of big, but we're gonna fit it in here is where our pocket's gonna go. So you gotta figure out how big your elements are going to be. A lot of the die cuts have a perfect size. So you could get one of the deckled rectangles, and not this size, but the one that's a little bigger, and use that for your inside little, I don't know what you would call it, I guess. Just like a tag for your pocket. Trying to find a better size of my scraps here. Let's see. Oh, so here's the deckled rectangle piece of scrap paper. This will be a perfect element for these albums. It looks really nice, and you can journal it. When you put the picture in, it gives it a really nice border. And you can write your journaling on the sides or around it. This is I love the deckled circles. It's one of my favorite die cut sets. I'm sorry, the deckled rectangles. And you can even put an edge on this. In fact, why don't I do that? Just to show you. That doesn't fit. This is an old die cut. I just have them all. I don't remember what set this one's from. Sometimes they has it. But it's great for these, as you can see there. Let's get it. All right, let's roll it through here. Woohoo! Nope. cracking involved. I love the Boho Blue Mini Cut Emboss machine. It is like my favorite tool right now. So as you can see, we didn't quite have enough space, but that is totally okay because we're just going to clip it right here and right here. So now we've got our scalloped edge for our side pocket. I also use the tear and tape on this one. And as I was mentioning before, it depends on the size of your little image that you're going to put, your little tag, whatever you want to stick in here. So if we were going to use the picture size, we're just going to go with it picking in, because these are nice. You could just slide them in like that instead of putting them on cardstock, but you could put them on a piece of cardstock and then journal on the back. So we're just going to put tear and tape along the edge, because the nature of the book will hold those tags in there. Side here, so you can see what I'm doing here. Make sure it's on the right side, because I could easily it cuts a backwards E or an E. So what that allows for is your elements to slide into this side pocket. This one almost fits here, but it's a little big. So just some of your scraps. I'm trying to find. So that would just slide in there like that. Now, sometimes the green glue is better because the pictures and stuff don't seem to stick to the green glue the way they do the tear and tape. But I still really prefer to use the tear and tape because all right. And there's our side pocket. So I'm just gonna put it right almost to the edge. Stick that down. So now we have our pocket. Voila. If you have other elements, you could stick in there. You could do another picture. And there's your side pocket. And other elements, like you could take, this is a paper pumpkin one, you could put that there and use it for journaling. You can get some of your die cuts. Like I have some scrap die cuts here. You could put that down, even so it'll still slide underneath. Make your elements. Possibilities are endless. Witch's hat. Any elements you have. So that's the side pocket, and that's the start of an album. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. If you have any questions or suggestions, please give me a comment below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for bearing with me. I'm still working out this YouTube thing. I love using Stampin' Up paper for these scrapbooks. It's just, they're such coordinating elements that really make it fun. And one of the things you can do on your front, besides the rain, is use your broken shells. I would adhere them with dimensionals. One of the things I love to do with these, I call them ruffles because I love ruffles. You can make a little flower. However you want. This is just playing right now. I'm not really gonna glue them down. This one is not a broken one, but it makes a great middle for a flower. But I just like to use them as elements. It's fun to use them as flowers too. But as you can tell, this was a beach themed one, and it has the shell on it along with my paper shells. So thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a great day.